my God, what was that? What was that?
I don't know, man. You need some water?
Nah, I'm all right. Wow. What's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hampton music moments and everything in between. I can't talk.
I think you need some water. My name is Mike Jackson.
Yeah, and I'm Stick Braxton. How you doing, man? What's up?
Um, Not tongue-tied, that's for
Yeah,
sure. At least for right now, I'm not. I guess I would ask how you doing, but I think we can tell.
yeah. I mean, I'm fine. I mean, I've been off work since last week, so I've been good. It's just I don't know what just happened just now. I was so excited. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I know that feeling when you've been off work for a while. You don't really have like too many responsibilities. You can relax and chill. So you're just a little startled. It's good. Speaking of that, because it was your birthday, right?
Yep.
How was it, man? How's it? A big 3-5. You're joining the crew.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It was cool. The weekend was great. I got a lot of whiskey, which is great. I feel like that's what you're supposed to do as you get older. You just get whiskey, and I'm like, okay, cool, yeah.
I'm a fan of whiskey, so I have no problem with that. Shout out to whiskey. We're not sponsored by any whiskey, by the way, so I don't want to,
I mean, but if they do, that's also fine.
and that is too. That is.
But instead, we are here with a new tape, man. New tape to review. Um, I wouldn't call it random, but it's one of those ones that maybe not everybody has heard. So we're doing "I Always Die in Brooklyn."
Yes, sir. I Always Die in Brooklyn. This tape came out about August 2012. It's pretty interesting because around this time of 2012, Charles said on a blog post that it was between this and Coke Habits were like the only, newer projects of that year, 2012, that actually were like new.
Mm.
2011, he was incarcerated. So, not saying that he didn't put out anything else in 2012, just new projects were in 2012, were just between those two. So that's a pretty special accolade between those two, especially with I'd always die in Brooklyn. See, now you got me started now.
It's contagious. uh, yeah, this is one of those tapes where I think maybe I heard a song or two off of it, but maybe not the whole tape. I think is where I'm at with it as far as like remembering what remember it the first time. So I haven't really listened to this fully. What about you?
I've definitely heard this project before. It's one of those things where I know certain songs from it, but if you were to say, "Hey, take this song title and put it to this album," I wouldn't have been able to do that. Like I've heard it, and it's one of those things where I guess it might have been like a flash in the pan when I first heard it, where I was like, "All right," like I didn't have like a bad feeling about it, but just not really memorable. So, coming back to listen to this is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh, first off, I don't think a lot of people would be able to take this song and put it to this album with Charles's music. Not a lot of them. Maybe the early stuff, maybe. But once you start getting deeper, it's like, I don't know. I'm just like, it's a guessing game.
Yeah, it was just interesting because there's not a lot of research, especially around this area. Not a lot of research. Like there's not many blog posts that are still up or anything where you can look up and be like, oh, so why did Charles make this project? What's the title mean and all that? It's not a lot of it. So it's like if you were there, then you might remember some stuff. But if you were like brand new to the catalog, it's like, all right, it's a project, but I don't, like you said, it's a shot in the dark.
Yeah, this is gonna be one of those ones where we're definitely gonna need those Charles comments in on the video to kind of help us with some of the stuff that to fill in the gaps, I guess. Um, it's only 7 songs, so it's a very short tape. Can kind of venture on kind of an EP type of thing, but you want to go through the whole tape? We're going through the whole tape today.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy 7 songs to go through,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
cool with that.
It starts off with 11, 10, 2012, and a smiley.
So when I first seen this, I'm gonna be honest, I did not know that meant November 10, 2012, because I just looked at the numbers and I just like just room,
Right.
I've heard the
Yeah.
song multiple times, and then I think Charles when he made a blog post about all the November 10 songs, I'm like, wait, that was a November 10 song, and if you listen to it, it doesn't sound like a November 10 song.
Right.
It usually has like that birthday feel to it. Just, something about happy birthday, celebratory. This didn't feel like that to me. Now, granted, that's not me saying I don't like the song. I actually like the song. It's a different twist. It feels completely different from the other ones, but I'm like, you know what? I like the song, and it's cool to see that he did something different. He ventured off because this was he was turning 25, so it seemed more like a okay, I'm turning 25. It's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows. We're going to like raise some hell in here. Has like a rock sample in it. Really dope song. I like it. It still feels weird to call it like a November 10th song to me, but it is one still, regardless. But I do like the song.
I blow out my candles when I am only 1 year old. So if I'm living forever, then I guess the sun is old. I smite thee, I am the unlikely Spike Lee smiter. Jim Carrey, that was fire. You can call me Bruce.
It's interesting because if this tape came out in August of 2012, that means he did this before his birthday.
That is
So
true.
that's an interesting tidbit. For me, this beat is crazy. This beat is fantastic. We talk a lot about just the rock sampling he does, and sometimes it battles. This might be the best version or the best balance of those two things, the Charles Hamilton beat and the rock sampling, because it just works so perfectly. It's like it's a perfect match. I don't even know how to explain it. I love the song. This is probably, if I take a guess right now, I even put it in my notes here. This is my second favorite November 10th song. To me, it's that good. It's the verses are great. The hook, it's still got the little birthday thing in the background. You kind of hear it or whatever. But that beat is just crazy. I don't even know. It's real, like top tier Charles Hamilton beat for sure. Um, I do have one critique, unfortunately, and that the song should end at 3 minutes and 8 seconds.
Like I said, this is why I remember the song so much. It's the fuck you, I fucked you. Can we go now? Like that's my favorite part of it, dude. I love that. But I know there's more after that. That's yeah.
Right.
I'll say that.
Right. That's where the line that you said is where it should end, and it should just cut off and go to the next song. But everything after that is I can't do that. Like that's rough.
Definitely rough. I will say this, and this is not an excuse or cop out, nothing like that. I do look at the time period, 2012. We had people like Tyler the Creator that did a lot of shock comments, shock raps, and all that type of stuff. Not saying that was cool either, but at the time, there's a lot of rappers. Hobson, I think he was out
Yeah.
around that time. There's a lot of rappers saying a lot of crazy stuff. So I chalk it up to that, saying like, I've heard stuff like that, but definitely coming back to hear it now, it's like, man, it's kind of a shame that we were doing stuff like that in music then, but it was the Wild West then, so people were like, just we just say it because it's whatever, it gets a pop out of people, but yeah, not the greatest. I'll just
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. If I can figure out how to do it, I'm gonna make my version cut off right after that one point and just that's it. G's Apartment. This is my favorite song on the album. This is one of the ones that I heard before. I love the song. It's very. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. It's hard to explain. The beat's really good. I like the beat, but the verses are dope. I love the second verse. The second verse is crazy. What he did with the Easy E and the HIV and the high five bars, crazy. By the way,
Hamilton, only when I'm cheesing. But damn it, Hamilton, how many E's can you beat? I am not easy eat, so I got no AIDs. But hey, if you got HIV, then I give you a high five and say, hey, stay by me. Cause I'm sick with the flow I spit, and I got sick with I hold my dick, cause I get in your whole.
yeah, nice use of Cash Money Wayne in the background on the hook or whatever. That's also dope. The song's just overall dope, man. Shout out to Gia and her apartment. She is a great inspiration for the song, man. What about you, man? How you feel about it?
Yeah, shout out to Gia. Inspired some things off the top, if you know what I mean.
Hey,
Um, not everyone was a fan of that apparently, but
yeah.
I do like the song. I really do. I think actually this is the first song I heard from this project, but it wasn't like, oh, I heard this song first and I skipped around everything else. This song was on SoundCloud. I remember I tried to talk to you about this song before. This got dropped on SoundCloud first before this project was. And I was telling you, originally when I heard it, like you'd hear the beat on the left side of like earbuds and would switch over to the right, left and right. Now that that's no longer online now, so now I look crazy. If anyone heard that original version of Gia's apartment, please comment and let me know that I'm not tripping. Like this is not like a bear stained bears situation. Anyway, but no, song's good. I really like it. Like I said, the hook's fire. Overall, really great song. Great song.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like this tape in particular seems to be kind of a hodgepodge of different type of songs and different vibes or whatever. It seems like Charles is in his not silly bag, but like he's in a jovial state in this what you call it. He has the high energy of 11, 10, 20, 12. G's apartment's kind of like a calmer track, and then we follow it up with singing the tune with us, which is another high energy track, and it's just very energetic. I see Charles is he's very. He also has worked that asshole in this song. That's also a great because we were talking about another tape that we have to do later. But you know what? Actually, I kind of want to talk about it because we are gonna record like 2 episodes today just for behind the scenes stuff for people. Um, this tape and the tape that we're reviewing later, which is Happy Night Wonder or Happy Night Birthday. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, it seemed like they were kind of created around the same time because there's like different elements of songs in each. Like there's a reference to do it, and that's in both of this tape and that tape, and work that ass so it's also in this tape and also in the other tape. So it kind of seems like they're like not connected, but they're in the same realm of creation of some sorts.
For the most part, yeah, it's one of those things where though they were recorded around the same time, not like within the same day, but just if you were a fan and you might have been on Ustream when Charles would be going live, you might have heard some of these songs. You might have seen some lives where some of these songs became on. They were transferred to another project or this project, whatever the case is. But um, speaking of singing the tune with us, I don't know what the sample is. That's a song where the sample was crazy. Sample's fire, sample's crazy. He has a great flow on it. It's with this project. I noticed Charles is doing a lot of flowing and just reconnecting with certain things. I know with this is definitely heavily into the people don't like me freestyling, they want me to write. And this is one of the projects where I'm noticing Charles is definitely taking it to heart, but in a constructive way, and showing people, no, this is completely fine. Don't worry about that. But the work that ass out. I wish more people were around because I don't know why that became so popular. I literally just remember we were watching him on Ustream and he had it in a song. And it wasn't this one, it was a different song that had Work That Asshole. Literally just randomly, everyone would just be saying Work That Asshole in random songs, random comments. Like we'd be talking about something different, like, yeah, when's the next Charles Hampton project coming out? Work That Asshole. It was just a thing. And you had to be there. Regardless, the song's fire and Work That Asshole.
Work that, work that, work that, work that, work that asshole. Looking perfect while you're flirting with your birthday bag, ho. And I don't mean to be flirting, but I'm certain that ho gonna be flirting with my shirts, gonna be smirking on her asshole. Why? Because my taste buds is so cuddly, and I love it when I'm sipping bubbly. I got that Jamaican flow if you want to discuss it, but
Yeah. It's our second favorite on the tape. This is the other song again that I had heard previously. It's very infectious and very contagious because like I listened to the tape during the weekend before I had stuff to do. And for the rest of the weekend, I would catch myself I would just sing the song. Like I'd be like, work that asshole. Or I'd be like make it feel. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just singing a song like randomly. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, what is that? Like, oh yeah, that's right. I have a pod to do. So it's one of those really catchy, infectious songs that Charles can make and that sticks with you throughout like the day or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites up there. Chick Butte.
I don't know why that's so funny. It's just, I guess how it's spelled, and then pronouncing it, but that's what it is. Chick Butte. Anyway, I consider this song. We talk about Charles using a lot of funk in songs, sampling funk.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely, I call this the definition of bounce, especially with the sample. One of those classic sample right there. More laid back flow, feel to the sound, kind of made me think about like the LA lifestyle a little bit, just not of that time period, especially maybe because Charles, not right now, currently, he's in New York right now. Shout out to Charles for, being in New York. He's working on some music. I caught one of his late night lives he had, but they had like a LA smooth vibe, chill, laid back vibe to it. I like the song, but I will be honest, when I first listened to it again, it was like maybe last week, I had my earbuds in, song sounded great. This morning, I listened to the tape, no headphones. This song, you probably, I recommend using headphones for, earbuds, whatever you want to call them. I listened to it again, and I'm like, oh man, the equivalent, I guess the best way to explain it, you can hear Charles completely fine, but the beat is so turned down, I guess, to equal everything out, that you really can't get the full effect of the bounce and the song, because you just hear his voice, and it's like the beat's on quiet, it's not the same. I recommend using earbuds, headphones for that song, because otherwise you might not get the full effect of it. But other than that, it's still a good song though. Still a good song. Most people would think, oh, that just sounds like it's not mixed well. I wouldn't say that. It just better with earbuds and headphones. There's some other songs I can tell you that this song trumps when it comes to sound quality. But yeah, please use some headphones with this one. The other songs that we just talked about earlier, you don't need to. With this one, yes. That's how I feel about it. How about you?
Uh, Literally the first note I have under this song is I don't think I like the mix on this. So I think we're kind of in the same boat as far as like what we're saying. Like I don't think I got to listen to it with headphones. I don't think I did. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Um, but I tried listening to it like just through a speaker recently, and I was like, it just like you said, the beat was quiet, right? So like I'm not getting the full effect of like you said, the funk, the bounce of what we're actually supposed to be listening to, and it's cool. The hook is fun though. The hook, the hook is fun. I did enjoy the hook, but the rest of the song it's just like, I I I wish that it was not because, like I said, I don't think the mix is bad, but I just wish it was mixed differently, maybe where it would be appealing to both like headphones and both speakers or whatever. Um, yeah, uh, yeah, it's just not for me. I don't think just the mix, the sound, not the sound quality, but the way it sounds wasn't appealing to me, and that kind of turned me off like immediately.
Well, there's you're not the only person that's alone in that, because like I said, around this point in time, the biggest complaints, it was like I said, Charles freestyling or writing in his head, and also how he would mix songs. We'll talk about this further, like I said, on the other episode we record when we do Happy Night Birthday, because what Charles was doing, and I talked about this before previously, but obviously right in front of me is my laptop. Imagine me being Charles and having a MacBook, and he would be rapping into the speakers of it, and he explained about how the equipment and all the stuff that's in these MacBooks and everything is so technical. It's up to date. He wasn't using a microphone though. Like obviously you can't see my microphone. My microphone that's over here. Charles wasn't using a microphone. Literally rapping into the speaker of a MacBook. Around this time, not for all the songs, but for a certain song. So if you can only mix and master for so much, Charles knows what he's doing, but that was the sound he was going for, and not everyone's going to appreciate that sound. So that's just one thing for anyone that was wondering. I mean, that's the takeaway from it, But it's definitely not going to be for everybody.
Yeah. Ghost City. Ghost City to me, I was very indifferent to it. The hook is okay. It reminds me when I see this song and I see Ghost City and I see the song, it just reminds me of the This Perfect Life song. Uh which I think it's just called Ghost, right?
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. Like I like that song. I like that song from that album. And it doesn't remind me of it as like stylistically, but I do that thing where I compare songs like, ooh, Ghost versus Ghost City. I'm like, Ghost is that much better. This was just here. I just feel like it's on the tape. He made it and it's here. I don't feel bad or good about it. It's just eh.
I get you. So for me with Ghost City, I don't do that type of comparison thing unless it's like a part one, part two type of deal. With Ghost City, I like the he did like a shout out or a call out to call back to Jay's Superman freestyle because the take off the blazer, take off the tie, that type of deal.
Mhm,
Um, the one thing I liked about the song with the beat. So of course we talk about how Charles will mix certain songs. It's it's a groovy type of beat, and I feel like he might have put like some either compression or some type of distortion a little bit on it because it has like this crunchy sound to me, but it's not like it doesn't bother me. Like it's not too much to the point where it hurts my ears and I gotta turn the song down to properly enjoy it. Like I feel like it blasted and it's still good, but it has like this like crunchy sound to it that like gives it like a little bit of a hardened edge. But I rock with the beat. One thing I noticed, I think he mentions about freestyling the song and people tell him to write. In the first verse, he does what does he say? Oh, you can tell because he's talking about how he's talking to the mic and the mic's talking back and he's talking back to the mic. And then he mentions like the mic's gray, then there's this and that with the microphone. So usually when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, oh, he's definitely freestyling because he's
mhm,
talking about what's in the room. That's the classic. Okay, show me that you're freestyling without showing me you're freestyling.
mhm,
The second verse, he starts it with talking about DJ Jazzy Jeff, and then he flips it, and then he changes it to ninth, and he flips it, and then he changes it again. I thought that was a cool little concept of him like starting off with something, then taking it back, and then re-saying it, but in a different way, and then trying to take it back and then re-say it, and also put in what he first said before, and take that back, and it's a ring around the rosy type of deal. It's
mhm.
it's an interesting song though. I like this song. I feel like this is like probably like a underrated song on the project that people, if they do know the song, they might not talk about it as much. But I like the song overall though.
Okay. So you would call that your surprise pick of the tape is this one right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Um Kind of going back to like the writing and the freestyle thing. Um I'll just ask you as a personal, a personal thing. First, just from your perspective as an artist or whatever. You do songs or whatever. What is your process? Are you a write or you write stuff down? Do you rap first? Do you like kind of say some stuff out loud and then kind of piece it together as you go along? Like what's your process? Do you have a preference? Do you find one harder or more um advantageous than the other? Like what's your process with it?
So with me, it's pretty simple with me. It's one of those things where I'm not like someone like Eminem that will just like write a bunch of like raps down without a beat,
Mm,
and then they try to drag and drop them, and or how some people would do is like, oh, I got the lyrics written down already. Either I need a beat that's going to fit to it, or I need a producer that's going to create a beat around the lyrics I have. Because with me,
mhm,
I'm like, I'm not doing all that shit, bro. So for me, it's about finding a beat that I really like
mhm,
and writing to it. For the most part, that's really it. Like I don't mind freestyling, but I take so much of a different approach to freestyling where if I am going to freestyle, I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to say whatever, do whatever, and I'm not going to take it as seriously. Now, I know we talked about, Charles writing in his head. I was talking to him, I think last week, and he explained to me about like the process. Just, you might say a bar or two in your head, keep it in your head, say it out loud, then come up with another bar, another two bars. All right, say those two bars along with the first two bars. And then you keep going and keep going and keep going, which is pretty great. That's a pretty great skill to have. Me personally, the reason why I just write right to the beat, just do it like that, and then I write the hook, and yeah, I just put everything like just in order like that. I feel like there's more of a connection because usually if I'm not telling a story, it's just it just feels more personal. Like it's like the emotion that I'm putting out in the song. I feel like more people can feel that. But if I'm just freestyling, like I said, just like it's whatever comes to mind. So if you're feeling the vibe, then cool. But I feel like that's all you're gonna feel. Like that was a cool moment, you know. But I'm trying to, put like a memory out there for like songs. Like moments for me are freestyles, memories or songs, and it depends on what you're feeling. If you want a memory, here's a song. If you just want like a cool moment, here's a freestyle.
Mm.
Um, for Charles, it's he's showing that he can keep improving with the pen, keep improving with his mind, which is a great thing to have. Terrible thing to waste.
Mm.
At the same time, though, it's not always up to him of how it comes out. It's how we interpret it. So regardless of how he explains it, if we just don't interpret it well, I won't always say, "Oh, he did a bad job of putting it out there." It's
Mm.
just more of it just didn't connect. It could be right here, and then right there, just miss. You
Yeah.
just miss. So I feel like it's one of those type of deals. The only other thing I can say, there's times where I might have a beat in my head, and then I'll start thinking of stuff, and I'm like, oh, let me get my phone out, and I'll start like typing it down. But
Mhm.
other than that, it's I write. I'm just not that I can't freestyle. I just prefer writing. It's therapeutic. I really like writing. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah. Yeah, as we get further into the pod and just like kind of going over things over the years, that the freestyling versus the writing or writing written in your head, it's always like the thing that comes back. It's always the thing that like rears its ugly head. Even like today, where it's like, oh, you should make music like that, which means one of two things. Either, the main thing is that they want him to write stuff down and try to write songs versus writing his head, which is still technically writing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
especially if you're able to remember what you're saying. If you memorize the bars, it's just writing. You just took away the paper. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like actually, you're an environmentalist at that point. If we're really being honest with ourselves, um, but I don't. I'm like you. When I write stuff, if I'm doing stuff to like music or if I'm doing stuff like just poetry and stuff like that, I like to write it down. But I think I kinda combine the 2, so I'll say I might have 4 bars in my head already, and I try to tighten them up first before writing them down, and then I go do another 4 or another 2 or whatever. I don't know if I like what you say is, like, writing down is more of like an emotion. You can kinda put an emotional thing, it's like a connection from, your brain and your emotions to the pen and the paper versus freestyling where, like, you can create a moment with that, like, it's hard to have the emotional end into a freestyle. And I think maybe that's the disconnect with like some of the fans as far as like what they want from Charles as far as writing down. Like they can't there is no emotional connection for them, maybe. Is that something you think is going on?
For some people, it could be not an emotional connection. For other people, it's and I'm not saying this, but Charles knows because like when we had the Facebook group and whatnot, there's just some people just like, I just don't like it. I don't like it. What is he talking about? Like, the hook could be about like some type of topic,
Mhm.
and then the verses, he's just freestyling, And I'm not saying they're bad freestyles, but that's what I mean by a connection. If my song is about my girl leaving me, then hopefully you would expect that the verse is about the girl leaving me, what led to that,
Yeah.
if it doesn't compute, if it doesn't connect to each other, then you're just going to be like, all right, well, it's cool, but you
Mhm.
just don't have that real connection to it. I think well, real big thing for me, especially why I like to write more, is because let's say I have these 4 bars that I really like. At
Mhm.
some point, I might look at it again. I'm like, you know what? I could do something better with that. Let me erase this and tighten the bar up.
Mhm.
You can do that with writing. When Charles freestyles, he can't do it because not that he can't do it, but realistically, you already said the bar. The bar was in your head. You
Mhm.
just put it. You just spoke it to the mic. You already said it, so you can't change it. It's already done, and
Yeah.
he doesn't do retakes. It's one take. The only way he can retake it is, when let's say he does like a mess up or something like that, then he's like, oh, I meant to say, and then he cleans it up throughout the verse.
Right.
But you know why a lot of people aren't going to like that? Because it's like, bro, you had like 12 more bars you could have, kept going with it. You just spent another 4 bars cleaning that up. And then then you just spent another 4 bars explaining why you had to clean that up the way you did. You only have 4 bars left. I can just do that neatly by just writing it and redoing it. But that's just the process that Charles likes to go through or whatever. He enjoys it more, and that's what's more important, I think it is important for the fans and the StarChasers to gel with the music and like it, but it's one of those things where if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't, go to the next song, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's just like it's okay to not like something. I'm not never gonna tell nobody that, but it's like, either A, have a reason and be able to, explain that reason, or just don't bring it up. Talk about the stuff that you do like. Everybody would be a lot better if they just did that.
Yeah,
Um,
focus on the songs and the projects that you enjoy instead of being like, well, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, I didn't like. Okay, what do you like? What do you like, man? Like, let's spread some more positivity.
yeah, yeah. Speed stick. How do you feel about speed stick, man?
Um, the deodorant, or you mean the song?
I'm not a speed stick guy. I'm more of like degree, bro.
All right, shout out to Degree. So look, I know I was going with that, but anyway, so um, with Speed Stick, here's my thing. I like the flip on it. It's the Teen Spirit, I believe. Um, and we talked about it before, I think, on an episode where like it's always cool to see Charles flip certain songs that he's already flipped before, but he flips it differently.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where it's like you can hear the sample, you're like, oh, that's how he flipped it. Oh, well, he sampled this on another song, you know? Oh, but he flipped it differently. So interesting concept. I like that. Overall, for me, the song's okay, just like the actual deodorant. The deodorant's just okay, I don't hate it, but for me, it's like the least memorable song. So this would be like my song that like not that I necessarily skip, but at least there's certain songs with all the other ones where I'm like, oh, I like it because of this. I like it because of this. I like it because of this. This song, I'm just like, the flip's cool, but other than that, I'm like, eh. So
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of this one at all. Like that's exactly what I wrote down. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's exactly like Speed Stick. It's like it's not for me. I don't think. I'm like it's like if it's push come to shove, I'd grab a stick of Speed Stick. But am I reaching for it immediately? Absolutely not. Like no, that's crazy. Um, yeah, it didn't grasp me in any of the metrics that I normally look for. Um, Nothing really, is memorable to me. It's just like I said, the flip is cool, but it's like, how far is that really going to take me? I can't let that, I can't let that dictate my feelings on a song every time, right? There are very few where that really helps it, right? This was not one of them, but it's there, it's there. TMZ Van Music closes out the tape. Um, First off, I like this flip a lot. That this is a fun flip. That is good. Um, the song is here. It's one of those ones it's here, and I just don't know how to feel about it. Um, yeah, I don't know. This one is this back half of the tape was just like it's stuff that's here, but it's like, is it necessary? It could have They could have been Lucy's, they could have been on a different tape, I feel like, but I don't know the cohesion of this tape. It'd be good to know, like, what was, the what's the word I'm looking for? The motivation or the inspiration for this tape and, like, why these songs were chosen as to be together. Without that, it kinda just feels like a conglomerate of songs, so the cohesion just isn't there for me for this one.
I get you on that. For me with TMZ Van Music, like you said, great flip. The one way or another. That's a classic song.
Correct.
Like I said, I like the flip. I thought I like the flow and the bars on the song. I think overall it's a nice song. My thing is, if let's say Speed Stick ended this project, I'd be like, oh, oh, okay, you know. But I think because the way I feel about Speed Stick was like the second to last song, then this song came on. I'm like, well, I like the song a lot more, so I'm
Mm.
cool with it. It ends like that. I don't know. I don't know if it would make a difference. Let's say if Speed Stick just wasn't on the tape, and then it still ended with TMZ van music. If I would be like, well, maybe I don't like it as much. You know what I mean? Where like
Yeah.
you have something that you really didn't enjoy too much, and then you have something that you like better. Where it's like, do I like it because it's not like the other thing, or
Mm.
I generally like it? But I think I generally like the song though. It's just funny for the name because I'm wondering what made him name it this TMZ Van Music, because TMZ was very popular at that point, but at the same time, like where Charles is in his career, like he's definitely nowhere in a point where people were the fans, we Star Chasers, were checking for him. But you know, if it was anything like a hip hop blog or anything like that, if they were checking for him, it was more like, oh well, let's see what else we could try to make fun of him for. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Overall, I like the song though. I think it's cool. I don't like it as much as some of the first half of the project, but I still like the song overall. I still, like I said, and I don't want it to sound like, oh, if a song has a dope flip, I'm honestly a fan. That's
Yeah.
it. No, it takes more than that, because there's a few songs I've heard where Charles had flipped something, and I'm like, man, like this could have been a little better verse wise or hook wise or something like that. But overall, good song to me.
Yeah, I think, you know, we can appreciate a good flip. I mean, because he usually does a great job of flipping a record. Like that's just, you know, we've come to love him for that, right?
Yeah,
But you gotta do more than that to make an acceptable song. Um, TMZ Van Music is a very interesting title. I think with the sample that he used, it kind of makes sense because one thing about TMZ, one way they are gonna find you and they are gonna bum rush you with a bunch of the same questions they ask every celebrity, and usually it's not pleasant. So that when it comes to the naming convention, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I can see you liking like the bars and like in the hook and stuff like that. But just for me, it's just here, right? Like it's just it ends the tape and the tape is over. So it's like, I don't know.
I will say, because my first time re-listening to this, I went on a walk last week and I was pretty much vibing with the tape. I'm not sure how long or technically short the tape is. Obviously 7 songs, but I'm talking about like minutes and seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I got done with the song and then I kept walking. I'm like, okay, where's the next song at? I'm like, oh wait, it's over. So, and I know with this podcast, we've done a lot of projects that might be, let's say, between like 10 to 12 songs, and it's a good hour, you know, but like when you get to some of these type of tapes, if you're really like busy doing something while you're listening to it, you
Mhm.
might blink and miss it. You're like, oh, this tape's over. Oh man. So, and I think that also has another thing to do with the visibility of this tape, other than people just not knowing of like certain music in 2012 that came out for Charles, just how short they are. Because I'm not sure how other Star Chasers feel about that. You know, especially in the era we're in now with music. Period. I think you on you and Keem were talking about it. Beyonce's new album was it like
Mhm.
y'all said it was like 20 something, 25, 20, 27 songs.
Yeah.
You got Beyonce doing this, bro. Like I'm tired of seeing everyone do these 25 plus projects.
But
Like,
hold on.
all right,
Your favorite person also put out an album with a lot of tracks.
I know I'm not a fan of that either.
Taylor dropped a jump. You can listen to a song a day for a whole month.
First off, she's not my favorite artist. She dropped on your birthday. She said, "Happy birthday, Stick. Here's my new album."
First off, Taylor Swift, no, she didn't say that. She didn't say that at all. And if she did, why she say it so seductively like that? That's really weird. Number two, uh, yeah, I'm with you. The I don't like these 23, 24, 25 plus songs albums, especially since probably 10 of them are either less than or 2 minutes, barely, or they're interludes, but not the fun interludes, just like, somebody talks or whatever, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it just feel like this they just add 10 throwaways, but we know why they're doing this. It's streaming games, right? Like the more songs I had, the more people stream, and then like my numbers look weird or better or whatever. But yeah, I just who else tried that crap? Jennifer Lopez. She tried that bullshit too.
So now the hate has gone on from one podcast to another. Man, you won't leave her alone, man.
She
Gee.
won't leave the world alone. I want her to leave the world alone, but she won't. She keeps popping up for no reason, and it's annoying.
Speaking of her, I'm pretty sure Charles has sampled everything under the sun. I'm thinking in my head, has he ever? He's had to have sampled her at some point. I'm trying to think in my head, like, is there anything that pops up? Like,
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
yeah, I can't either. Randomly, if y'all know Charles, if you sample J Lo, any songs by J Lo, please feel free to comment those because Stick needs to listen to those immediately.
I mean,
That's his
he'll make her sound better than she's ever sounded before.
that is true.
So, like, she can't go nowhere but up, bro. I'm telling you.
All the way up.
Yeah, this is from the 2012 era, man. So it's one of those things where this is where we're starting to hit that, you know, that divisive period. It's crazy because it's both a divisive period, but it's also a period where a lot of people actually started discovering his music. You know what I'm saying? I think we figured that out throughout the pods where like that 2012, 2014 era, like between those years, a lot of people had fond memories of those albums. Like they had in higher regard than some of the earlier tapes, right?
Yeah.
What's your thought on this time period? I know, me and you kind of came in and out, or we were, we had a string of years where we would download everything versus, we kind of maybe, pick and choose which ones we would download. So about this era, this 2012 to 2014 era, what's your overall thoughts on it?
I was, obviously I was still around, still on the Facebook group. So I was still, seeing what people were saying, watching. Like some people turn being like, hey, I think I'm done. I'm out. I would say this 2012 is like a pivotal moment, not because of like exactly the projects he made, but like gearing up to like the next year and some of the other projects because like we said, we talk about core habits and this project here. In 2011, he was in jail. So it's one of those things where it's like he went from remember we talked about 2010, how many projects he dropped in 2010. Then you go to 2011, incarcerated for a good amount of time. So 2012 is like, okay, I gotta play catch up. And suddenly he didn't, but it's like, no, y'all know my work ethic. I
Right.
gotta get back on the grind. And then we get to 2013 where we see a lot of people that are new fans really enjoying the music. Some of the OG fans were like, okay, well, some of these projects I'm really liking, some of them not, but they're getting roped back in, they're getting brought back in, by certain songs and certain sounds. Um, Overall, this year, I definitely feel like was important because regardless of how people felt about it, um, things had to be known. It's like, okay, if you're not really rocking with the music, if you're not rocking with how he's freestyling on songs or how he's recording his music, then it is time to, dip out and peace out. But for some people, they chose to stay. And that might be the biggest problem too. You have people saying, oh, I don't like the music, but still listening to it. It's like, bro, like if anybody else did that, if a mainstream artist did that, you would have stopped listening, Like why are you still here then?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of us that that had I guess a fight with that because we felt that connection with Charles ever since like '08 or 2010. Like, man, this is my guy. He speaks for me and speaks to me with the music he creates. Um it's I look back with the at 2012 a little bit more fondly now. I think before when I was actually there, it was like I do remember saying, hey, he's probably not getting another record deal, but coming to terms with that and being like, well, we still have this music, so I'm cool with it.
Mhm.
But looking back now, you know, hindsight's 2020. So it's like, okay, I see what was going on. It's kind of like when a company is switching over to a different brand or a different marketing, and you're just going to lose some people. You're going to lose some people. You're going to gain some people, but you got to do what's best for business. And I think that's what Charles is doing overall.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking when you said like when brands like switching marketing things, it just reminds me of how like everybody just pretended like Jared was never part of Subway.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, 2012 was a very huge year for Charles, man. Again, like I think, like I said, there were people who had done the '08 through 2010 thing, and then were like, this isn't the music that I was used to hearing, so it's like we got to go. Versus there are people who just latched on at this time period, and like again, those albums are just they are Bible for them, right? Um, and it's great because if you really think about it, that 2012 to 2014 era kind of leads up to the whole Republic thing. Like it's because of that music in between out, tracks and albums from that time period that kind of got the attention from Republic or Turn First or whatever to kind of gear them towards that second comeback there. So yeah, I think I'm like you during the time. It was one of those things where like, ooh, it's tough. It's tough being a fan right now because like the quality's not there. The fans that were with them this whole time are starting to turn against them, and you don't want to be a part of that group. But you just be like, I might have to fall back just a little bit as far as like downloading everything. Right, my laptop
Yeah.
cannot take that kind of abuse like that. Um, but now that we're going back and we're listening to some of these tapes, and we have a fresh set of ears, I think it's one of those things where it's like there was a lot of good stuff here. We may have not have given it the proper listen or the benefit of the doubt from the jump. So yeah, overall this is a good year of music. I know why people always talk about it, and it's another one of those great years of Hamilton, man.
Yes, sir. We had 20 Hamel 10. This is 20 Hamel 12, And I did like how Charles was starting to do that with certain numbers, but at a certain point I'm like, well, you can't do like and it makes sense. But when you do
Right.
20 Hamel 13, 14, it's like it doesn't really make a sense. Like there's a play on numbers, play on
Yeah.
words, but overall it's still just one of those moments where you gotta, well, he said he was pivoting, he's moving one foot, he's just figuring out where the next step is. As long as you're not going back, you're in a good spot, you're in a good position.
But we just listen to Always Die in Brooklyn, man. Need to let us know what you rate the tape, any pros, cons that you have for it, man, and then let us know, what rating you giving it.
All right. So with this project, if I'm just going by the numbers, like I said, 7 songs overall, I enjoyed majority of the tape. Like there's only one song where I'm like, you know. Um, but 6 out of 7, that's extremely well. The thing is, for me at least, it it is crazy that this project doesn't get him enough appreciation or enough eyes on it, and maybe it's just because like what we said at this time period, there's a lot of people that just didn't know, and the people that did know they just weren't tuning in. Overall, uh, I'm going to it's going to be controversial, right? So I'm going to create a new rating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. And I apologize, but this is the work that asshole rating. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm sorry. Now because I listened to this project, I'm going to be saying that for like another like 3 months probably, and no one's going to know what that's about. No. I had to say it like one more time. No. Serious note though. Serious. I'm not doing a new rating, but I would give this seriously, the Tails rating. This
Okay.
is a really good project. I would just give it a base Sonic, but at the same time, it's so underrated where I feel that especially people now, if they listen to it and may never listen to it, they would agree. It's like it's a good project. It's really good. The only like I said, only takeaway technically I say, not even talking about Speed Stick, but the other song, like I said, you need earbuds for that, but that's really only one song. Even if you chose not to like that song, and maybe if you weren't a fan of Speed Stick either, 5 out of 7 songs, it's not bad.
Mhm.
uh this project needs more eyes and ears on it, so overall I'm gonna give it the Tails rating. Good project, very underrated in the catalog of Charles Hamilton.
For me, the tape kind of peaks with the first three songs. that first 3-song stretch is very good. Um, other than cutting the first song, at a certain point, I think the song was great. I think G's Apartment is great. I think Singing the Tune with Us is great. I think those are all 3 great songs. And then the tape kind of takes a nosedive for me, as far as like appealing to me, right? Um, and it's just a bunch of songs that just feel like they're just there, and they don't do anything for me memorable besides maybe some flips or like with the way the beat sounds or like a hook here or there. So for me, I think it's definitely worth the visit for the production alone. Other than like we said, the is it which is the one that has is it Ghost City that has it or Chick Butte? It's Chick Butte. As far as like the mix on it or whatever. Other than
Yeah.
that, the quality of the music and the sound is really good, especially for this time period. Because with way people were listening to the songs. So for the production alone, I would say definitely give it a visit. Definitely those 3 songs that I talked about. Um, for me, I'm gonna give the Mechasonic 2, just because I think there's probably something in 2012 that's similar to this, but just does it better. Which is crazy because again, I like those 3 songs a lot. Like G's Apartment would definitely be on like a top 100 for me. Maybe Singing the Tune with Us as well. Um, but overall, I just as a tape, like I said, it lacks that cohesion that I'm looking for. But I also could see somebody that latched on to Charles' music during this time period or a little bit later, loving this tape, like the entire tape, and just could not get enough of this one. So for me, it's a Mechasonic too, but I'd always encourage people to go and listen to it for yourselves. See if it's something that you're willing to, that you find appealing to you, and then, take your favorites and enjoy that, man. So yeah.
Hey, I get you on that. I want to say me going back and looking at the Facebook group comments, I think that like some of the OG fans like us, they felt that way. Like, oh, I like 3 songs, I like 4 songs maybe, and that's it. Um, but I think that's just one of the things where we talked about it. Charles is going to write how he writes or record how he records, and
Mm.
certain songs will strike you in a certain way, certain songs won't. But that's not everybody. Either way, it's still some music you should check out regardless. I do think, I personally think that some people they're gonna put some of these songs in some playlists, man. I think that personally.
Yeah, that's for sure. But y'all let us know, man. How do you no, actually, let me stop. I forgot about something, man. Did you hear the
What's
new
that?
track that came out?
What oh, which one?
Oh, you didn't hear about the collab we didn't know we needed that came out recently?
Ah, this guy.
You didn't hear about that?
I did hear about that. Yes, I did. Yeah,
Uh,
so I'll take the floor on this one. So,
thank you. Thank you.
in case you guys don't know, um, me and Charles were talking the other day, and I won't say the whole conversation, but he was like, "Oh, you want me to make a beat for you?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah, you want me to make a beat for you?" I'm like, "What's the catch?" He's like, "Nothing." I'm like, "For real?" He's like, "Yeah, for real." I'm like, "Yeah." So we were talking for a little bit, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna make a beat for you. I'll hit you up when it's done." He made it for me. I listened to it. I'm like, damn, this is for real. You made a beat for me. I'm like, all right, well, I gotta write something to it now. I gotta, come up with something. And Charles always messes with me about, hey man, I know you don't smoke, but just don't judge me for my habits. And I'm like, I'm not. So that's I kind of was like, you know what, let me incorporate that into the song. So wrote it, and I was like, all right, Charles, I'm gonna send this to you first before I even post it anywhere. He said it was dope. And he's like, what do you want to do with it? I'm like, I could put it out whenever. He's like, wait till 420. Obviously, you guys are watching this after 420 now. But if you haven't seen the post, and Charles reshared it on Twitter, I have a new song called Leave Me Alone, produced by Charles Hampson. And this is different. This is not me just taking a beat from Charles's beat tapes or anything like that. Charles made the beat for me. Showed me some love, so I showed some love back. We put the song out. It's on YouTube, it's on SoundCloud. So if you want to look it up, check it out. Charles, let me make sure I make this clear. This is not going to be a I don't care situation. Charles is not rapping on the song at all. He just produced the beat. He made the beat for me. I'm rapping on it. and that's it's a nice collaboration. The first of hopefully maybe many in the future, but it's a great accomplishment, great feeling. If you guys like it, I've seen some people comment on it, whatever, people are digging it. So I appreciate everyone that has checked it out. But if you have not, I'll say it one more time. I have a new song out produced by Charles Hamilton, the talented Mr. Hamilton, called Leave Me Alone. It's on YouTube. It's on SoundCloud. Check it out. Look it up. Yeah. Let me know what you think. See Ham and Mike Jack, what's stopping this? Y'all will say it's a split, I will call it a leap. You can call it belief, just don't call the police. I got enough going on, but I'll keep it brief. Trying to drink a little more before I have to cheat. Before I have to leave, I'ma make it known. You can't make another Mike, go make some clones. I'ma just change clothes, like I tell them hoes. Either love me or leave me alone. Fuck out of here. Either love me or leave me alone. I'm just saying, if you love it, then leave me the throne. I'm not hating if I'm
Yeah, man, that beat is crazy. You do your thing on there, man. So I'm very happy for you, very proud of you and all that jazz, all that sappy shit or whatever.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, let us know what you think about I Always Die in Brooklyn, man. What would you rate it? What were your favorite songs? Just let us know, man. You know where you can find us. We are on YouTube. We're not Charles Hamilton. We are StarCHaser Central Podcast, though. We're also there on Twitter at StarCH Central. You can follow us on our individual pages. I'm at StickAround54 on Instagram and Twitter, STIK around 54. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
Excuse me, sorry. Let me make sure I can try to get this correct. On Instagram, the Mike Jackson, THE, Mike Jackson. On Twitter, I don't call it X. I haven't said that in a while. Let me bring that back. Mike D Jackson, Mike D-E-E Jackson, 1D, 2 E's. Also, make sure you check out Charles Hamilton on Twitter. I don't know if he calls it X, but check him out at Charles Hamilton. Also, check out the YouTube, the talented Mr. Hamilton, where he's dropping new music at certain intervals. He has his lives. Check it out. Also, check out the blog. Enter the hamilton.blogspot.com. Other than that, I believe that's it.
Yeah, man. Engage with us, talk with us. We'd like to hear from you. If you have any questions, anything you want to see on the pod, any tape you want us to review, give us something from the 2012 era, man. We're looking for more of those. 2013 is a good year too. Yeah. Mike, do you have anything for the people before we leave?
Once again, like always, thank you all for checking out the podcast. Thank you for listening. If you also, I don't think I've said this as much. In case you guys don't know, I mean, you guys are watching this, but we are on, the streaming app. So in case you guys, can't always watch, you can, listen on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. But of course, thank you for checking it out. For anyone that has been checking out any of the music and any of that type of stuff, watching with us, seriously, it means a lot. It's just great to have conversation with y'all. And it's great to be in a positive environment compared to how it used to be. I tell y'all all the time, like, how the Facebook group used to be. But, it's one of those things you had to have been there. But at the same time, I'm glad some of y'all weren't, because it wasn't always pretty, but compared to now. So thank God for making this a great place to be. That's it.
And most importantly, man, work that asshole. We have been StarCHaser Central Podcast, man. We're logging out, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams
and reach for the stars.
Don't stop working, 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 working.